Hello, my people out there. Una welcome to the program Edu Radio. Una well done for this Tuesday. This now Edu Radio, your talk magazine program, when they to bring to you the problem when don't face our educational system, the face for Nigeria. So much so that it don't hold our education for neck. We cannot compete. Our children cannot stand out to say, I'm a Nigerian, schooling in Nigeria, proudly Nigerian. To the extent, with the presence of the coronavirus, our children, our universities, even face masks become problem. Well, today for the program as usual, my name is Oman Dave. Let me be your anchor person. And today for the program as usual, like I talk, we don't keep our program aside just because of say we care about you. We are so concerned about the welfare of your children. If your children, as they grow, somebody no model them in a way where we say it could take them higher, problem will come up. For Edu Radio, we say we they concerned. I don't know whether you myself they concerned. If you know they concerned about the education of our children in Nigeria, because you don't acquire the education we acquire, someday, wahala go dey. By the way, waiting with this kind of education where they look at quality education. We didn't look at problems, though. We look at solutions, follow them. Now we feel say you, will be stakeholder, join body with us. Make we take this our educational challenge to the next level. And for our listeners out there, make we no vex say we start at this 4:30. Well, issues been there. We they go back to the time, this 4:30. So the program will be 4:30 to 5 o'clock until when things don't settle, we go add more time. Make we no vex. Today program though, it go carry body. But my challenge today, as it be, how many of us don't they realize say this thing when they call Koro, when they call COVID-19, be real? We they do our own small sensitization here as it concerns us. Today we go hear from one of our own. Again, as we do sensitization, we don't do for several languages. And the teacher will go take you today, they gidigba. He go take you for chemistry. You know, say chemistry for some of us when we say that time we say we won't become soldiers for secondary school as such. We don't need sciences. So we won't do political science. We don't need they run. Maybe today, I mean, don't they produce some of these ventilators what they talk about. So if we not listen, we not go be one of those inventors or people that discover things. But before we begin get to see or talk to one of our brothers, we go talk to us or sensitize our own brothers from South. The question I want to ask now be say, how much you don't tax yourself? How much are you getting ready for tomorrow? Not tomorrow as in tomorrow as it concerns this post-COVID-19 pandemic. How ready are you? Are you ready? If you're ready, what are you doing? We in Edu Radio, we don't carry our own program set aside because of say we care about you. We don't bring in teachers. We need to pay them. We just say, come and contribute. What have you done? And federal government, our concern day with you. Today is good, tomorrow is better. We need to cut down costs. Running costs of governance, of government is too high. It gets some group of people where we say if you ask them, they will tell you say they work for State House. Either for the respective states or for the presidential villa. Their own job, when I know them, when governor wants sit down, they go sit down, carry chair, just push for governor, make it sit down. If they ask you say where you they work, you say they work for villa. You want to push chair. When they retire you, no go find something do. What they talk here, we say, let us look for something that can help us. It go get time, time go reach when we say even salaries go hard. Because I know it's a thing go hard though, but it's very clear. Look at what they depend on the oil. What is the cost of oil in the international market today? It's easier whether we're being carry gallon go they carry crude keep for house. It's not possible. Because the cost of production is much more than the cost of the sale of the same barrel of crude. And how prepared is the country? How ready have we been able to set up a tax team inclusive of both government and private people, politicians, businessmen, and technocrats without bias, without any acrimony, without any sentiment. For sake of say, it come from here, it no come from here. I be in papa from here, I be in mama from here. It no go help us. Make we hear from one of our brothers. Make we know whether if he still remember how to speak this language. We'll take them from there. Something happened a few days ago in my house. When come make me feel say, it no go easy. Call. You understand? You know, somebody, you know, I get this farm. So somebody come my house, prepare the yams. Okay, you can't carry some throw outside. So, okay, this one no good again. Prepare the yam to go plant for my farm. Not be boost, I dey boast here. If I want buy yam, I can buy yam 1 million yams. But it just not fun. The farm come, I need to go there. And somebody do it for me. At the end of the year, that's why I go carry the things, then dash. They throw the yam. Somebody come, they pick the heads of the yam. They try to. I almost wept. In fact, I wept. It go hard. How prepared are you? Civil servant, public servant. Banks, they say they want downsize. Banks, so where somewhere even collect 1 billion. How many hundreds of thousands? How many millions? How prepared are you? Our educational system, hello? Our educational, hello? Hello, now who we get for this telephone talk this evening? Why would they see try to reach us, make we hear the language they want to sensitize our brothers and sisters out there. Our parents, when we see them there, make una prepare chemistry they come. And this chemistry, the person we go taking on this chemistry is gidigba for ground. Are we there? Hello? Hello? And whom I am, they follow talk for telephone ring this evening.
This is Prince Kevin Fineface.
Hey, Prince Kevin Fineface. Now where you they follow talk with us this evening, so?
I dey follow you the banner from Agadua, Abuja, Nigeria.
Okay. This program na Edu Radio. I don't know whether they follow us like this, so.
And I follow you small.
Thank God, though.
Get to care.
You feel speak your language, so?
Yeah, yarane so timate kala on that one. So it's idiot.
Okay, use your language. Tell your brothers and sisters, say this koro na real. So that we go join body with government. I don't know of National Orientation Agency anyway. Make we sensitize members of the public on how this thing they work.
Yeah, my amenapo. Tonkrin ke sembo bakare bakam. Make it be the coronavirus will be and COVID-19 man. Ama myself farmer and the people I'm less one and go one a year. One a brass secret. Nini na be na buy. Tell me what paka kuma. What to na ko get bolokuma. Ba peke bara jebrake bara prena bara farena na yem biema. Mete wa dikite wa taka brabo peke wana bo mia fiafia ma ana ko go diare ja wa fiafia ba kan ka kuma o bibi soba ba peke paka bia ambrambo wa peke brasa na ke dam government peke anywhere government to wa kona korea yare na ne six mate korea bare ko no bo lak ma ya no bi bare after black my yard get somebody. So me tell what Papa Bracova Abiba Minister. One a brass secret, Toro secret, me tell what Paka Kuma, John Palaka Anka, Jojo Palaka Menji. Say, you go to do because you want to prepare Christ, whatever, Amen. So what I've said generally is that my sisters, it's important that we know that government does not do enough. The responsibility lies in our hands to take care of ourselves. We have been told to wash our hands, to observe social distancing, and ensure that our personal hygiene is the most important thing. Two, knowing that if we get sick, we are the ones that will suffer. If death comes, we are the ones that will suffer. So it's important we observe this personal hygiene protocol so that we can all live forever as even Christ has given us the grace to live.
Amen. Fine face. I don't know when. I don't know whether we go do am on telephone because me I know say you na person will be say you dey very very passionate about this country. You don't do your own program severally. You don't package so many things because of the passion without anybody paying you. You get waiting. I just think what I feel say we go work together. I don't know whether you go there available.
Okay.
I go call you maybe after the program. We go talk some more how to help our youth, how to help our country to set a roadmap because we for this program we are very soon now we'll go set up a seminar, a workshop where we say both public, private, businessmen, especially as it concerns education, make we see, make we know whether the recycled curriculum we they carry now. Anyway, I'll call you after the program. Make I give time to our chemistry teacher. May can do what you know how to do best. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, brother. God bless you. Thank you. Yes, our teacher, your time, come take over.
All right, good morning, or a good day rather, I beg your pardon. Good day, listeners. Good day, everybody. Good day, Nigerians. Yeah, welcome to an episode of the Edu Radio program. I'm here, my name is Isala Vincent. I'm to take you chemistry class, you listeners out there. So I crave your indulgence to listen attentively and you can ask your questions later. So as we commence today, we are going to be dealing with a topic known as chemical equilibrium in chemistry. Chemical equilibrium. General perspective, when you want to look at equilibrium, is just that maybe when something is undergoing a change but remains in its original place still without seeing any physical change on that particular body, is known as equilibrium. When there is an application of a force or any factor on a body or a system, then you didn't observe any change. It simply means that that body is said to be in equilibrium. Now, let's come back to the chemical equilibrium proper. In this context, if I'm talking about a system, I'm trying to talk about a chemical reaction. Now, when you observe that there is no any physical or observable change in a system, as time persists or as time goes on or with time, then conclude that that system is said to be in equilibrium. Now, there is a scientist known as Le Chatelier that came about with this chemical equilibrium, the concept of chemical equilibrium as a whole. Now, he tried to figure out this equilibrium in a kind of reaction known as a reversible reaction. A reversible reaction is a kind of reaction that proceeds forward and backward. That is, you can make the reactant to get a product. You can as well turn your product to reactant and then get back your reactant. So that is, it proceeds back and forth. That makes it a reversible reaction. Now, there are some factors that tends to alter the equilibrium of this reversible reaction we're talking about. These factors include temperature, pressure, concentration. Although we will be looking at briefly how a catalyst may or may not affect a reversible reaction. Also, how a noble gas. Noble gases, chemistry student out there should know noble gases. The group 8 element like helium, argon, krypton, and the rest of them. So, we are going to look at these individual factors, how they affect the equilibrium of a reversible reaction, of a reversible system. Now, Le Chatelier came with a law or a theory or a particular idea that by the time you alter the temperature, pressure, or concentration of a reaction, what usually happens is that the equilibrium of that system you just alter these factors will tend to change in order to nullify these effects. That which I've just said is known as Le Chatelier's principle. The ability of the equilibrium of a reversible reaction to change in order to nullify any changes in temperature, pressure, or concentration is known as Le Chatelier's principle. Now let's consider the effect of temperature on this system we're talking about. Now, in considering temperature, we have to still observe that there's something called exothermic and endothermic reaction. In an exothermic reaction, the heat tends to be given out as a product. That is why there is a value called the enthalpy change, which is delta H by symbol. It's always negative for an exothermic reaction. That is, for example, I'll be using A, B, C as my reactants and products here. So if I say A plus B to give me a product C, and delta H is negative, I am trying to say, okay, this is an exothermic reaction that heat is given off outside as a product also. Now, what would be the effect of increasing temperature for such a system that is experiencing exothermic reaction? This effect will be that if you increase temperature for an exothermic reaction, what will happen is that the equilibrium of that system will shift to the left, that is the reactant side, because I just said vividly that in an exothermic reaction, the heat is also attached to the product. So the equilibrium will shift to the left-hand side where there is no heat in order to nullify this change. Now, if you decrease temperature, what will happen is it will shift to the right, because on a normal exothermic reaction is meant to have heat as a product. Now, let me go further by explaining endothermic reaction. For endothermic reaction, considering temperature, don't forget, for an endothermic reaction, heat is absorbed into the system. Now, by the time heat is absorbed, it simply means that heat is together with the reactant now. Now, if you have that is A plus B plus heat, because heat is part of the reactant for an endothermic reaction, to give you maybe C plus D. If you increase temperature for such a system, the equilibrium of such a system will shift to the right this time, because heat is in the reactant side, which is at the left. So the equilibrium will shift to the right in order to nullify this change. While if you decrease, of course, it will shift back to the left. That is the effect of temperature for both exothermic and endothermic reactions. Now, let us consider pressure. Pressure, normally it's taking place in gases, normally for gases. That is where we consider reversible reaction for gases in terms of Le Chatelier's principle. Now, when you have, for example, let me use an ordinary compound now, like dinitrogen 4 oxide to give you nitrogen 2 oxide, for example. It's a gas and gas kind of reaction. So now, what happens is, for pressure and equilibrium of a reaction, if you have gases, of course you might have, let me say I have 2 moles of a reactant, and then I have 4 moles at the product end. If I increase the pressure of such a system, the equilibrium will shift to that side that have less number of moles. As just said, for example, reactant side I have total of 2 moles, and then product side I have a total of 4 moles. If I increase the pressure for such a system, the equilibrium will shift to the left-hand side where there is less number of moles in order to nullify this effect. Now, if I decide to decrease pressure, of course, in a system like that, what will happen is that if I decrease pressure, the equilibrium will shift to the part where there is more number of moles. More number of moles, that is where the equilibrium will go to in order to nullify this change. Now, don't forget, I am still trying to say pressure, when increased in a system where is gases that reacted, the equilibrium will shift to where there's less number of moles. While when it is increased in a system where there's gases involved, the equilibrium will shift to where there's more number of moles. Now, let me also tell you one very important thing. What if you have a situation whereby we have the same number of moles for both reactants and products? what will happen is that there will be no any effect that will be felt by increase or decrease in pressure.
I hope so you enjoy them. Our emphasis, as much as we know closed door for the private school students to join, our emphasis there for those children when we say data, na big thing. So now we bring and come for radio. As we encourage federal government and use radio, they reach out to as many people as possible, especially in the public schools. Next week, we get question we're going to ask now here. Universal basic education, they say their own, one of their major functions, now free education from primary to secondary schools. Check around your neighborhood. Ask questions. If your children, they public or private schools, make we know. We want to hear from you whether true say those children, they indeed, they enjoy that free education. Because free education, UNICEF, UNESCO, and the body when they in charge of this basic thing, even the federal government themselves, they say university, free education from primary to senior secondary school, they're free. Well, we want to say on behalf of our very, I think get time now. Yes. However, I get what time they talk that time because I talk say the level of poverty we ain't gonna meet us up if we not do something. Take up something. Tax your brain. I be you in that type where we say you move from Al Jazeera, you go to CNN, from CNN to channels, all for COVID-19. What are you thinking of coming up with? You need to think. Tax your brain. Begin to look for alternative source. How can you help yourself to help your family? We say this thing, not tax for you and I. And together, we can move on up. We, for Edu Radio, we want to say thumbs up to our medical guys who are out there. Thumbs up to the journalists who did the front line there to give information. On behalf of our great people, our children from the public schools, we say, God bless you all. See you next week, same station, same time, on Tuesday. Bye.